have these books always on hand, folks. I really appreciate it if you do. We're going to head over to the sink. I'm going to show you a great way to cut and wash the romaine, okay? We want cold water. So run your tap. Make sure your sink is clean. Mine is already. Put the plug in, and you want to make sure you fill it to about half to 2/3 full. You need a large amount of volume of water, okay? So get that running water, get your plug in there. The other thing you're going to want to have standing by is a large cutting board like this right at the edge of your sink. So get that organized, as well as a large knife. The other thing you're going to need is a salad spinner. We're going to have to spin dry your cut romaine because this can be really wet after washing it. And the last thing you want to do is water down that beautiful dressing. Water has no flavor. Water's a liquid, you know that? So don't have all that excess water in your dressing and bland it out, okay? You don't want to do that. So we need to spin dry it. Really, really important. What happens if you haven't got a salad spinner? I'm going to give you another little trick you can do, okay? So this doesn't work as well, but in a pinch, it will work. You take a towel, you have your chopped, washed romaine, you take a big handful of it, you put it on the towel, and you wrap up the towel like you're making a little package, right? You go out your back deck, and you whip it like that, okay? And it's going to spray water everywhere on your neighbors or whatever. But then you go back in the kitchen, you unravel it. It's not perfect like a salad spinner, but in a pinch, man, it works, okay? Now, the reason why you need a large volume of water, as you know, when you're cutting the romaine, most of it floats, right? You're going to get some of the heavier pieces closer to the core that is going to sink. That's okay, but most of it floats. So what you want to have happen, we're going to massage this in the water once we cut it. I'm going to show you a great technique for cutting, so don't cut your romaine yet. And then all the dirt and the bugs or whatever are going to potentially just sink to the bottom. So we're going to scrape off the clean romaine off the top, and all the dirt and stuff will be sunk to the bottom. So that's what I'm saying, at least half full to 2/3 with your water, okay? So again, it doesn't matter if you're working with romaine hearts or a whole head of romaine. I'm going to show you what to do with this, okay? And the process is the same. Now, I learned this technique from a bartender at a restaurant. So I was working at a restaurant, and usually the bartender comes in, doesn't take him much to set up his bar, and he has a sink there. So we always put him to work, right? Here's some prep you can do. And so a lot of times he was prepping all the romaine for the day. And he showed me this great technique, and I'm going to share that with you tonight. So what you do is you keep the core intact. Don't cut through the core, okay? That's going to hold the whole head of or heart of romaine together. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife, and about 1 inch away from the end of the core, you're going to plunge it in there and cut all the way through that head or that heart. Not through the core, but through the rest of it. So we cut it this way. Then you're going to turn it a quarter turn. So now that cut that you made this way is this way. Understand, right? So a quarter turn, and you're going to cut it in the opposite direction, not cutting through the core. So we cut it this way and we cut it this way. It's like an X in your whole head of romaine. Then you're going to cut it on the other areas that you have not cut yet all the way through, not the core though. Well, 1 inch away from the core. And then on the other spot here that we haven't cut. And then if you're working with a head, which is bigger than a heart, you just make a few more cuts where you need to in the same manner. And most of it, you get the odd little piece that comes off, most of it stays together. You have your whole head or heart of romaine, and all you do now is you line this up on the cutting board, and you just make your 1/2 inch slices, and you just flick it into the water. It's so fast, it's so easy, you don't have to gather it and transport it to the sink. The sink is right there. You just cut and flick, cut and flick. All the way through, it's cut until you get to the core, and I'll show you what to do next. You're left with the core, but man, did you see that on the news? Like, inflation is the highest it's been in 40 years. So I don't want you to waste any of this. There's a lot of edible parts around the core, and here's what you're going to do. You're just going to take your core and you're going to trim around it. So put the cut side down, core facing up, and you're just going to trim around it to get 100% of the edible parts off that core. Click it into the sink, and you're left with this. Get your salad spinner standing by, all right, whatever brand you have. And for washing, we're just going to massage it around. Just take your fingers like this and just massage it in the water so that you can loosen off any bugs, any dirt, whatever, and then give it a few seconds for that dirt and those bugs to sink down, okay? I've seen a lot of people wash romaine heads or hearts, and they keep them whole. and they fill the sink and they take the whole head by grabbing onto the core, and then you're like plunging it in there back and forth to swish up the water up into the head or the heart, and then they let it drain. I don't really recommend that because it's not very thorough to get right down to the base of the core, especially when you're holding it there and you're squeezing the leaves together. You're not going to get all the dirt out. And then you have to sit there and let it drain, let it drain, let it drain, let it drain. I mean, it's a lot easier to use a salad spinner. It's more thorough, okay? And you're going to get this job done a lot faster and a lot more efficiently by getting the dirt out. So now that we let it sit there a little bit, take your salad spinner basket and just skim off the top without trying to disturb much on the bottom, and get a full basket full. Okay, we'll go back and get some more as we need it. Load it in your salad spinner, give it a really good thorough spin. We'll drain it, then we'll spin again, we'll drain it, maybe spin a third time. So watch how much water comes off. I mean, yes, we scooped it all from there, but it's a strainer basket, so it doesn't grab a lot of water, except a lot of water holds on to the romaine. Now we're gonna spin it really good. Second time. All right, look at that. A lot of water still coming off. I'm going to spin it one more time just to be safe, because again, water has no flavor. I don't want to bland out that beautiful dressing. All right, here we go. Let's see how much we got this time. So yeah, not a lot, but there's still some in there.